Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to 10th Standard Social online class. Students, we are studying Civics Unit number 3, State Government. In our last class, we have studied about the three wings of state government, that is executive, legislature, judiciary. Legislature is a law making body. Executive is the law carried out by executive. Those are violating law, they were punished by judiciary. And we have studied the executive branch, governor, chief minister and council of ministers. In our last class, we have completed the powers and function of governor. The governor is the constitutional head of the state. He is appointed by the president. And we have studied about the qualification of a governor and his legislative powers, executive powers, financial powers, and judiciary powers, etc. During emergency period, the governor possesses vast powers. Today we are going to see about the chief minister. The one of the important function of the governor is the governor appointed chief minister and other council of ministers. Now we will study the chief ministers in detail. In the scheme of parliamentary system of government provided by the constitution, the governor is the nominal executive head and the chief minister is the real executive authority. Note this one, the governor is the nominal head. According to the constitution, he is the head of the state, but the real head is chief minister. In other words, governor is the head of the state. Underline this one. Governor is the head of the state. Chief minister is the head of the government. So the government is really run by the chief minister. So the real power vested in the hands of chief minister. The chief minister is appointed by the governor. Now we will see the appointment of chief minister. The chief minister is appointed by whom? Yes, the governor of the state. The term of the chief minister is not fixed. The governor cannot appoint anybody as a chief minister. There are some terms. He may remain as a chief minister as long as he enjoys the support of the majority of the members of the legislative assembly. Note this one. When the chief minister enjoys the majority, the support of majority in the legislative assembly, he can continue his period. If he lost the majority in legislative assembly, automatically he has to resign his chief minister post. But according to constitution, his term of office is 5 years. The chief minister, he can enjoy the power for the period of 5 years. He has to resign when he loses confidence of the majority in the assembly. Legislative assembly is the lower house of the legislature. It is understood that normally he complete 5 years terms. Note this one. The chief minister period of term is 5 years like other members in the legislative assembly. Now we will see the powers and function of the chief minister. Relating to the council of ministers, the chief ministers recommend the person who can be appointed as a minister by governor. So if a MLA become a minister, it is in the hands of the chief minister. The chief ministers recommend the person to become a minister. He recommend the person to the governor to appoint as the ministers. He allocate the portfolios, various department among the minister. So the chief minister, he distribute various department to the ministers. He shuffles and reshuffles his ministry. He change or rechange his ministry, the council of minister. If he appointed a person as a education ministry, if he want to change him as a changing for another department, he can do it. It is in the hands of chief minister. He presides over the meeting of the council of minister. He is the head of the council of minister. He conducts the meeting in council of ministers and influences his decision. He guides, directs, controls and coordinates the activities of all the ministers. The chief minister only Giving guidelines, he directs the ministers and he control and coordinate the activities of the ministers. Now we will see his relation to the governor. The chief minister advises the governor in relation to the appointment of some post. Advocate General of the state. The Advocate General of state is appointed by the governor. At that time, the chief minister can give his advice. Then State Election Commissioner. Chairman and members of the State Public Service Commission. Chairman and members of the State Planning Commission. Chairman and members of the State Finance Commission. All these officials are appointed by the governor, but the chief minister has the power to advise in the appointment. Then relating to state legislature, the chief minister advises the governor with regard to the summoning and proroguing the session of the state legislature. He announced the government policies on the floor of the house. The chief minister announces the government policies in the lower house. He can introduce the bills in the legislative assembly. Not this one, the chief minister, he introduced the bill in the legislative assembly. He can recommend for the dissolution of the legislative assembly to the governor anytime. The chief minister can give his recommendation for the dissolving the legislative assembly to the governor anytime. Now we will see the council of ministers. The council of ministers are collectively responsible to the state legislature. Note this one, important GK question. This council of ministers, they have to answer the question asked in the state legislature. If the chief minister resigns his post, immediately the council of ministers also resign their post. This is we call collective responsible. All the members of the council of ministers must be the members of the state legislature. All the members of the council of ministers, they must be MLA in the state legislature. Those who are not the members at the time of their appointment, they must secure their seats in the legislature within a period of 6 months. If a member, he is not member in the legislative assembly, but the chief minister appointed him as a minister, within 6 months he must be stand in the election and he must win in the constituency and he became the member in the legislative assembly. If a no confidence motion is passed by the legislative assembly, the state ministry shall resign. If the majority party loses its majority, the no confidence motion was passed in the lower house, immediately the council of ministers should resign their post. Article 163 provides for a council of ministers to aid and advise the governor. So the council of ministers can help and give their advice to the governor. This was said by Article 163. According to Article 163.1, there shall be a council of ministers with the chief minister at the head to aid and advise the governor in the exercise of his function, except in some, so far he is by or under this constitution required to exercise his function or any of them in his discretion. Then other provisions relating to ministers. Article 164.1 holds that the chief minister shall be appointed by the governor. The chief minister is appointed by the governor. Article 164.1a says that the total number of ministers, including the chief minister in the council of ministers in a state, shall not exceed 15% of the total number of members of legislative assembly. So the council of ministers' strength is mainly depend upon the strength of the legislative assembly. The percentages, they should not exceed 15%. Now we will see the powers and function of the council of ministers. It formulates and decides the policies of the state and implement them effectively. So main important function of the council of ministers, they form the policy, state policy, and decide the policies and implement them in an effectively manner. It decides the legislative programs of the legislative assembly and sponsors all important bills. The council of ministers, they decide the programs of the lower house and they sponsor the important bill. It controls the financial policies and decides the tax structures for the public welfare of the state. It makes the important appointment of the head of the department. The Council of Ministers, they are making important appointment for the head of the department. It discusses and takes effort on the dispute with the other state. What are the problems between state to state? This Council of Ministers, they are discussing and they are taking effort to solve that problem. It framed a proposal for incurring expenditures out of the state reserves. The Council of Ministers, they are discussing the expenditures of the state. It decides all the bills, whether ordinary bill or money bill, to be introduced in the Legislative Assembly. Note this one. All the bills are introduced only in Legislative Assembly that are decided by this Council of Ministers. Each minister of the Council of Ministers supervise, control and coordinate the department concerned. Annual financial statement. Note this one. Annual financial statement called budget. So what is mean budget? It is annual financial statement. It is finalized by the Council of Ministers. It's important powers of the Council of Ministers. Up to this, we have completed one organ of the state government, that is executive. The executive is headed by governor and he is helped by the chief ministers and council of ministers. Now we will see another organ of the state government, that is legislature, state legislature. The constitution provides a legislature for every state. Most of the states have only one house that we call unicameral legislature, that is legislative assembly. Some states they are having two houses. This is called bicameral legislature. For example, Bihar, Karnataka, Maharashtra, UP, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, they are having two houses in the legislature. The lower house we call legislative assembly. It represents the people of the state, and the upper house is called legislative council. It represents some special interest like teachers, graduates and local government. In Tamil Nadu, we are having only one house, that is legislative assembly. So in our legislature is unicameral legislature. You see this one, this is Tamil Nadu legislative assembly, lower house. Tamil Nadu, according to the strength of legislative assembly, Tamil Nadu legislative assembly strength is 234 members. In the number of members may be up to 36, that is 15% of 234. Now we will see the lower house, the legislative assembly. The legislative assembly is a popular house. It is a lower house in the legislature. It is the real center of the power of the state. That is, here the members are directly elected by the people on the basis of adult franchise. What do you mean by adult franchise? Adult means those who attain the age of 18. Franchise means right to vote. Here, the members of legislative assembly, they are elected by the people, those who attain the age of 18. The strength of the assembly varies from state to state, it depending upon the population. The current strength of Tamil Nadu legislative assembly is 234. However, the maximum strength of the assembly must not exceed 500 or its minimum strength not be below 60. Note this one. The term of the office of the legislative assembly is for 5 years. It can be dissolved even before the expiry of its term. The legislative assembly can be dissolved at any time. It depends upon the majority. The size of the legislative council cannot be more than 1/3 the members of the legislative assembly, that is a lower house of the state. So the size of the legislative council depends upon the legislative assembly. But its size cannot be less than 40. Now we will see the composition. The legislative assembly of Tamil Nadu consists of 235 members, out of which 235 members are directly elected by the people from various constituencies on the basis of adult franchise, and one member is nominated by the governor from Anglo-Indian community. This is an important GK question. For lower house, the governor has the power to appoint one person from Anglo-Indian community. The remaining 234 members, they are standing in the election and they are directly elected by the people by means of adult franchise. Students, up to this we will conclude the lesson. The remaining portions will be seen in the next class. So today we have studied about the powers and function of the chief minister. The chief minister is appointed by the governor and he appointed council of ministers. Today I will give some home assignment. You copy in your classroom note and study well. Thank you.